Today, I just want to share some quick information about property options. Now, we've been asked a lot about this over the last sort of 3-4 years, to be fair, and we've never actually put a course together, simply because there were too many people, I guess, trying to get rich quick from it. Now, the way that we work with options is it's got to be quid pro quo for both you and the vendor. So let me tell you a little bit about options so then you understand what we're talking about. So primarily, excuse me, I've got a bit of hay fever. There are two options in the UK that are commonly used. One is a lease option and the other is a property option, or a purchase option, should I say. A lease option is otherwise known as kind of rent to buy or lease to buy, whatever you want to call it. One thing you've got to do is, especially when you're talking to people out there who have never done any property investing or anything like that, and yet you're trying to secure their property by doing something creative, you get too technical, then these people are probably just going to go, I don't get it. And they're going to go to their solicitor, and the solicitor has no experience or very, very little information. They're going to go, I don't get it. But a solicitor will never say, I don't get it. They'll just say, don't do it. Simply, that means I don't understand. So it can be a scary world, but anything is scary if you don't know what you're doing, right? Even walking for the first time is quite scary because you don't know what you're doing, but eventually you do it. Somebody helps you, whatever, gets you up, that type of thing. So where can options be used? Pretty much anywhere. What we're looking at doing is kind of betting on the future. And if you've done any stock trading or watched any news about shares, it's all about the futures market. What's the price of the shares, the company, so to speak? People seem to forget that. They say, what's the price of the shares going to be in the future? Well, what's the company going to be worth in the future is what you should be looking at. So your research shouldn't just be about the fundamentals and the technical analysis. It should all be about, obviously, as well, the story behind what's going on and that type of stuff. Because if you don't know that, your technical analysis is probably a bit flawed. But that's shares. And it's the same thing in property. We're betting on the future. Like you've got a margin call or you've got puts. You know, we're doing the same thing. However, with our options that we use, we don't lose. And there is no margin call. There is no, you know, the vendor doesn't say to us, right now you've got to buy or you've got to sell, whether you win or lose, whether you profit or not or lose. So what an option does is it's just a load of paperwork, which the solicitor does. And you should never explain an option to a possible vendor or joint venture partner technically, because that's up to the solicitors. The moment you get technical with somebody who's not technical, you lose and they go blank. So what's the best way? So a lease option, if you like, you can get it for a month, for 6 months, for a year, for 5 years, for 10 years, whatever period you think you're going to do. You know, normally don't go beyond 10 years. 5 is about right. So you've got to think to yourself, where can I use a lease option? So pretty much anywhere, really. Especially we like to use them where we can get an income. So rent to rent, we're renting somebody else's property and we are then renting it again. It's kind of subletting, whether you're using guests or tenants. Now, what we want is long-term capital growth, because the rent-to-rent bit is good for stage 1, I call it, and that is your cash flow and income. Now, once you've got that to a level where you don't need to do anything else, as in no day job or anything like that, you can start to be creative with your life and do what you like, then you can start talking to, you might have 5 properties, you might have 10, you might have 20, you might have 50. You can start talking now to your landlords and saying, look, how about I buy this property off you? And they're going, okay, not for sale. Won't be for a long time, but I will keep your offer in mind. Fair enough. Alternatively, they may say, you know what, I've been looking at selling it, but I'm just not sure. Then you can say, look, how about if over the next 5 years, we put something in place that I'm going to be a guaranteed buyer from you? Okay, what does that mean? So, well, it means that, you know, within the next 5 years, if the price hits a certain level, I'll buy it. And I want to make sure, obviously, that you as the vendor, you also make a profit. All I'm looking for really is to take the property on without having to put in any deposit or any legal fees. So if we can work out a deal, excuse me, at the end of the 5 years where you make money and I basically get the property and take the property on without having to sort of, you know, save up a load of money. Be like, okay, that sounds fair. Put a proposal together. Okay, I can do that for you. Just before I do, I've got a question list, and we have this on the course that we're doing. It's a whole questionnaire. And you want to know all about, you know, whether they've got a mortgage and this type of thing, and, you know, what sort of equity, blah, 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 blah. There's loads of questions you need to ask, you need to find out. You need to get a copy of the title, all these sort of things to make sure that, and get proof that they are the only person who owns that property, because they actually own it with 2 or 3 other people. So there's a whole load of questions you ask, but it's quite simplistic, right? On the other hand, you can say, well, I'm thinking about doing a lease option. A lease option here gives me the option to purchase at any time in the next 5 years. And you, as the vendor, you're basically, your fucking hands are tied because you're now obligated to sell. Which one sounds better? Both mean exactly the same thing, and all the information will be shared. You're not hiding anything. You need to be 100% transparent. And like I said at the start, you know, a lot of people will say, well, hang on a minute, Ash, you know, you're not getting a profit. You could make 150 grand here, sell it on, blah, blah, blah. That's bollocks, right? Yes, you can do that. However, you want a deal that's going to stick. There's not going to be any issues. And then they know that they've got a great vendor, a great person looking after their property. You're getting income from the property as well. And then they feel comfortable knowing that they're going to make money, and they also feel good because they know that you're getting you a property. Nice? Fantastic. Now, there's lots of ways that you can use a lease option, rent to buy, etc. And we won't go into that. It's why we've put a course together. I don't want to sell you shit, but that's what it's for, right? The other one is the purchase options. Purchase options, again, fairly simplistic, as long as you don't get too bloody technical with the vendor or don't get too technical with yourself. A purchase option used a lot with land and what we call planning gain. So what you'll do is you'll find a piece of land, or you'll find a house, a derelict house, or you might find a house that's beautifully built and looks fantastic, and there might be land at the back. You might be able, you know, and with the new thing that's come out with the 8 meters you can put without any planning, permitted development, that type of thing. You know, there could be a way that you could do that. Property options, purchase options means that you don't have to buy the property, much like an assisted sale, or we can even use delayed completions and these type of things. All of these things do the same bloody thing, right? They're just slightly different technically for the solicitor, but nothing really for you to worry about. There are people out there in my position who want you to think this is hard. This is so hard. Oh, it's so technical. We'll give you all this. We'll give you, oh, you need a solicitor. Yes, you do need a solicitor. Our solicitor, Nino, he's been doing this for years. He's great. He's fantastic. We're other solicitors, and we put them together because we want everyone to understand, you know, what's going on with vendor, etc. So, purchase options, you find a piece of land, and you think, right, I might be able to build 2 houses on it, might be able to build 10 on it, might be able to build 20. Now, look, you might not be a developer like me, right? I like property, but I don't like all the paperwork that goes with it. funny enough. I hate admin and I hate sitting down and filing shit and all that sort of stuff. So I get other people to do it. You know, we have project managers and some other people say, well, but you don't understand this, don't understand that. Bingo! I don't need to understand it. I don't need to. We have people that we work with who we trust and entrust in who do this day in, day out. They know it 10 times better than I do. And this is how you should be thinking. It's like, you know, if I need to know that, then I'd better learn how to lay a brick. I better learn how to plaster a wall. I better learn how to frickin', you know, put electric in a house and wire it up. I better learn how to put a chimney stack on. I better learn how to lay carpets, lay tiles, blah, and the list goes on. So, you know, for me, them telling me that, it's flawed shit, you know, because you have a whole team that you've put in place who does this stuff. Now, if you're like me and you don't like getting into all that stuff, and I'm not a big fan of building, to be fair. However, what I do love is finding a piece of land, getting planning on that land, and having a property that you control for 18 months, 2 years, and in that time, you have that time to get planning. You can then say to the vendor, hey, I've got planning. This piece of land here that we agreed is worth £200,000. It's now worth $500,000. And I promised you, Mr. Vendor, that I was going to give you a nice big cut of the deal. Now, most people out there, sharks, bloody vultures or whatever, will say, yo, we agreed the price of £100,000, Mr. Vendor, and we're going to take the $500,000. We're going to sell this on. We're going to make $400,000 in your face. Not kind, you know? You got to live with this shit. And then the vendor will feel gutted because they'll see that their property sold for $500,000, you bought it for $100,000, and they let you have it for 18 months free of charge. So let's not be greedy, and you will make a shitload of money from property options. You really, really will. Are they really easy to find? No, they're not. The reason they're not easy to find is because they are so profitable and much lower risk and very low entry of capital outlay, whatever you want to call it. You need to know people where you can find these type of things. If anyone says to you, oh, you can find one every week, bullshit. Yeah, you can find them up bloody north, but your capital growth is going to be extremely low. So there's a lot to talk about, you know, in the option course that we put together, and it's in October the 21st, I think it is, and we put the price low at the moment, $297 plus VAT for 2 people. So it's 2 for 1. Basically because it's going to be the first day that we do it. We've trialled it, done it, you know, we know the stuff inside out. It's going to be myself and Jimmy London. Jimmy London's done a few of these on his rent-to-rent portfolio. He's got like 41 or whatever he's got. 33 he's got. 41 is his income per month. So he's actually done some of these with 4 of his landlords, and he's taken these properties on. So fantastic, right? That's who you got to learn from. So listen, yeah, it's, you know, if you want to know more about property options and you want to do it the right way, and you want to do it where you make money and your vendor makes money and they're nice and secure, and you're not going to be known as the vulture or the shark or the dickhead of the property world, and you want longevity, you want sustainability, then come and join us, because I can tell you this. It might take you a month to find a deal. It might take you a year to find a deal. It might take you 2 years to find a deal. It depends on how much time you have. However, when you find a deal and you secure that deal can be life-changing. That's the truth of it. It really can be life-changing. If you find 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 properties that you can control, you can't purchase a property for £1. That's bullshit. Don't listen to people out there. Oh, you can purchase a property for £1. It's bollocks. Bollocks, bollocks, bollocks. You can, as a minimum, it used to be called peppercorns. They have to do £1. you can secure and control the property for £1. There will be legal fees, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10,000, depending on the deal. Then if you're going to do planning, you've got to pay the cost of planning. Now, there are people like me and other people who will fund these if they're the right deal. So don't be kidded that you can buy a house for £1. You can't. You can control it for £1. That's the difference. And when it comes to purchasing it, basically the purchase is the deposit and all the fees are already inbuilt in the value. So you're going to get revalued and that type of thing anyway. So that's where the technical stuff comes in, but it's really quite simple, to be fair. And we do a step-by-step system for you. That's why we've done the O.P.T.I.O.N.S, the options system, to help you remember it and help you remember it, the order of how you should do things. Provide your order paperwork, all that type of stuff, the questionnaires, the actual agreement templates. No deal is exactly the same, but a template is a good place to start, right? So good. It'll be myself and Jimmy London. We're looking forward to it. Go and have a nice summer holiday. Enjoy yourself, because on August 21st, snap. Time to rock and roll. Funny video. All right. See you later, guys. Have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. If it's Friday, you're watching this, which is today. Take care. Bye.